Hi, you are listening to Rawganism, a Flowcast where we question everything we think we know and don't know, like why do we do the things we do? How can we unlearn to relearn? It's about some personal stories, low moments, funny adventures, nutrition, mental and physical health. Anyways, big questions like how the hell do we do this thing called life? Stay tuned.
Period.
Hi.
Hello again.
How are you guys? How are you, Ash?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed and highly flavored.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Me too. Very highly flavored.
Highly flavored. Amen.
We hope everyone is doing well, this evening or during the day or the afternoon or, whenever you're listening to this. We ourselves had a nice day. It's currently the evening, a night of December. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we had a very great day,
Yes, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Very relaxing.
Mm-hmm. A day of relaxation, Mm-hmm. Some massages,
Mm-hmm.
some
the Himalayan in a Himalayan salt cave.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Pink Himalayan salt cave.
So nice massage and
hot stone.
Yeah,
and then we
really
had
good.
the room for ourselves too, because usually you have to leave.
Yes, it's kind of just like, okay, we'll see you outside. Put on your clothes and pay before you go.
Yeah, and Ash was she fell asleep. She was actually snoring a little bit.
Yeah, I was really surprised that I could take like a nap. I would call it a midday nap, but it was still morning by that time. Yeah. But it's like weird. After I wake up, it's like, why would I go back to sleep? This is nighttime.
But when you're relaxed, like, and just sometimes you just get so relaxed that you end up like falling asleep or like passing out of relaxation.
Yeah, it's needed.
Yeah, I always remain kind of like semi-conscious. Like I'm always, just because I want to enjoy, so I like am able to really fully relax but still feel the massage. I
see what you're saying.
Yeah. And then after that, I didn't fall asleep, but I was deep breathing and I was very relaxed. So it still went on, like the 50 minutes after that where we were left alone, it still went by really fast because I was just like breathing very deeply. And then we had like a good brunch at a vegan place. And I was
going to say the name of the restaurant, but I was just like, no free promo.
So what, you want to get paid?
No free promo. Go figure it out.
It was really good.
It was really good, but we're not going to tell you guys.
We're not telling you. We keep secrets up in here.
We gatekeep up in here.
Yeah. And then we went to the sauna, just, because it's always good to sweat, like,
Yeah, get all those toxins out of your body, all that negativity, sweat it out.
Yeah. It needs
in
to come
Jesus' name.
We pray.
Get it out, sweat it out.
But yeah, that was good. It definitely needs to be like something we do more often, especially because the place we go out is actually a very, very decent price. I feel like in Vancouver it's hard to find like a decent price like sauna or spa place. And that sauna, it's not like that.
You want what you pay for.
Yeah. It's not that place where you go and all the decor is like fancy, whatever. It's not
just
like
a
that.
regular sauna, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Amazing.
Yeah. So
people want the fancy stuff too much. It's just like, yo. Sometimes the hole in the wall, that little restaurant in the corner, is bussin'.
Yeah.
And then, you want to go into like the one that has like the fancy sign and it's LED light or inside of it, and then the food is mid. Yeah. As long as the hole in the wall doesn't have roaches and flies, we're good.
They say like, I'm sure if you go on the islands or even in Africa, right? Or even in India, like the street foods in general, and say, oh, it tastes good because of the sweat.
because they're on top of the food, like it's hot outside.
I love Indian food, but I'm never doing no Indian street food.
Well, why? Like when we're like, I know in Gabon, like even my dad used to love going to this woman, and it's like at a corner like of a street, it's outside, it's hot outside, and on top of that there's it's like barbecued like fish or like a chicken or beef, and then it's like when the meat
excuse me, this is a plant-based podcast. How dare you bring
we're not labeling
ideas of
here.
Eating meat in here.
We're 90% flexible.
I rebuke you.
In the name of I'm not even gonna mention
what was it? The be all and
in the name of the vegan god. Oh, in the name of the all. The
all and the be all, whatever it was from the book. Because
the all, it's the all.
The all.
Yeah. Be above all.
No vegan god. We don't praise those things.
God.
But yeah, speaking of the all or the be all, like with what you read in your book recently, Nate, say the title of the book for our listeners.
The Kybalion by the Three Initiates, like 1912, I think.
Yeah,
philosophical book.
Michelle read something really interesting to me the other night, and it made me reflect about how like we often say, oh, I believe in the universe, but then when I really thought about it, I was like, saying I believe in the universe is actually really limiting, because there's multiple universes, and there's something kind of surrounding those multiple universes still. So I'm like, oh, I like saying, oh yeah, the all, the be all, whatever it is.
Is it since I read that passage that you kind of now feel like calling it the all is appropriate, because for that's me, what they use? Or before that, what were you?
Well, before I would, like I mentioned previously in one of our Flowcasts, I'm not religious, right? I don't believe in religion, but for anyone who wants to celebrate, through religion, different strokes for different folks, I love that. As long as they love what they're celebrating and it's not hurting anyone, beautiful. For me, I've just always believed that religion is man-made. That's my personal opinion. But I believe, like I grew up Christian, right? I just don't subscribe to any faith, but I do believe that there is, the divine, God. I would also call it the universe, but when you read that passage, it triggered some deep thought in me, and I was just like, oh yeah, that's actually really limiting to say, oh, I believe in the universe. Like there's multiple. So I'm believing in just our universe, and that's not my intention. So that's why I brought it up. But I'm like really intrigued to see how, the all, or God or whatever is related to our topic, if we even get there,
actually the passage I'm going to read is because in that book they talk about like the seven different laws, right, of the universe, may I say?
I mean,
is it of the universe?
I mean, of our universe, I
guess.
No,
of
then I wouldn't call it the universe then.
Of the the energy, or how the laws of it's even hard to say the laws of attraction. It's just basically it's the law of the universes and how it works, right? Because in the book it talks about the all and how it works, and how basically the world works on an energy level. Yes.
Okay.
Like, people who manifest, is basically if you want to manifest in the right way, that book is explaining to you the laws
of the all.
Yeah, it's explaining to you the laws that you must understand in order to understand how the all and the universe's
was
work.
Created.
Yeah,
okay,
and
cool,
was
cool.
created, basically.
Okay.
And so the passage I'm going to read is not from that book, but it is in some ways because there in that passage, it comes from a blog, and she has a podcast. And in that passage, she's talking about the law of correspondence. So above, so below, so below, so above. Yeah. And so she has a podcast, and in that podcast she talks a lot about manifesting and stuff like this. I actually never listened to it, but after reading in her blog, she goes over I guess what she talked about on the podcast and the episodes. Mm-hmm. So for each episode there's like but you know what, let me read the passage. And it's from Bree Brown's podcast, Modern Manifestation, you know?
I believe so. The name sounds familiar. I could be mixing it up with a different author who I really love.
It's not. Yeah.
Okay.
The one you're talking about for you is Brené Brown.
Yes.
Yeah. So her name is Bree Brown, or Bree Brown's.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, podcast. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So her podcast is Modern Manifestation. So here's the passage. It's a little long, but it's good. I think you're gonna like it. So, the law of correspondence states that what happens around us is a direct reflection of what is happening within us. Our internal environments determine our external environments. As Anita Moorjani says in her book Dying to Be Me, the universe is contained within us, and what we experience externally is only a reflection. How you're feeling is what you're manifesting. And brace yourself with me. Your current reality is a reflection of how you felt in the past. If you're anything like me, this concept might sting a bit. In my recent past, I found myself coming up with all the reasons why I wasn't where I wanted to be. She came from money and I didn't, or they're the favorite. You get my drift. I had to ask myself a really vulnerable question. How much of my current experience was manifested because I thought this would be the outcome before I even started? When I really sit with it, I've always had a fear of failure, a need to prove my worthiness, and a deep-seated pessimism that I couldn't shake. I realized the truth. I couldn't blame anyone else for my current situation, and that really sucked. So be gentle with yourself. None of us were born with everything figured out. You stumbled upon this information when you were ready to hear it, and not a moment before. The universe is always conspiring to help you grow. You are what you feel, and our universe is a reflection of our inner world. Use this law and your reality as a mirror to expose yourself to what you're experiencing on the inside. As an example, if you have a reputation of dating emotionally unavailable guys, see if you can find out what this pattern says about your internal beliefs. What happens in your external environment is a reflection of your internal environment. So toxic people can be our best teachers. The same type of person will show up again and again until we end the cycle and set boundaries. They're showing up because of something coming from within, something we need to recognize and learn from before we can end the pattern. This level of awareness allows us to make a conscious change and give us agency over our own destinies. Be open to allowing it to work through you instead of against you, and see what changes. This awareness is what allows us to co-create with the law of correspondence. Because of this law, we can find ourselves in a cycle of repeating the same lessons over and over again until we change our emotions. If you notice a recurring pattern in your life, focus on changing your reactions, your train of thought, and shifting to a positive focus. Your focus and attention matters. Your intention matters. end of the quote / passage. What do you think?
That's extremely powerful. She mentioned a lot of things that we were that we mentioned earlier when we were kind of just talking about the topic that we're about to get into. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, all of it is very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely about how people. Excuse me. Excuse me. I hope our listeners said bless you.
Yeah. Bless you. Bless you with a lot of money and a lot of health and a lot of positive energy.
Absolutely.
And a lot of love, self-love.
Absolutely. Period. I appreciate the blessing. Yeah, so
what do you think?
Okay, so she mentioned mirrors, right? Or reflections. How I believe that everything outside of ourselves is a reflection in a way. And the other thing that stood out to me apart from reflections was how she mentioned about changing your mindset. It's not to say that maybe internally, like maybe you're facing something externally and you think that am I like, is there something bad inside me or something like that? Like, to be honest, like life is going to present to you all types of challenges, and those challenges or whatever those externalities are that you come across, it's going to teach you a lot about the type of situation, the type of people. It's going to teach you something about yourself. Maybe you may be surprised about, or maybe you were already aware of. Like, it might magnify some things, and that's what is meant by reflections. So yeah. So life is a reflection of how you feel and what you feel about yourself. And I mean, we mentioned so many things about this, because like I believe initially when we spoke about this, I used the example of like when, okay, let's use myself for example. I feel like it's easiest.
Yeah. Oh.
So I practice self-respect. Right? Okay. Like I uphold myself to a certain standard. I respect myself, right? So if because I uphold myself to the standard, I also treat other people the way that I treat myself. And for example, if there's someone that comes into my life and maybe they're just not saying that they don't respect themselves, but maybe they just, I don't know, just get a knack or a kick out of disrespecting people. Like when disrespect is brought to me, I try to handle it with respect, while trying my hardest not to kind of like be, I don't know, just take the bitchy route, or just kind of be like, you know what, I respect myself. I'm not going to allow this thing to kind of like make me go down to that level, or like just react with the same type. As a human being, sometimes it's hard, right? But because I believe I have self-respect, I'm going to, like, whatever the externality is, whatever is presented to me, I'm going to, it's the reflection, like it's like kind of being, you could think about it as tests, right? Yeah. So if you say, okay, I want to have more self-respect for myself, you're going to be presented with situations that's going to challenge, your decision, your commitment, your belief in that about yourself. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, for me, I would.
It's very tempting.
It's
very tempting to look at to just be like you.
But for yeah,
don't
I
have
guess
common sense.
it depends on your personality. I think for me, I would tend to want to snap, but not like in a bitchy way, in a way where it's like I would definitely raise my voice because I'm like, why are you trying to disturb my peace right now? Like, you know what I mean?
Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Are you dumb?
Yeah. No, seriously. I'm like, I don't.
That's kind of what goes through my head. Are you dumb?
I feel like when I'm at peace. When I'm at peace and there's no need for like no drama, right? Obviously, in our daily life, sometimes you're not in the mood, and so you'll project that energy, and then someone else will bring back that energy towards you, and then you'll react to it, not knowing necessarily that you're the one who brought this up.
I think it's important to also check yourself, you know, like sometimes like when we go throughout the day, we, you know, if there's something going on, you know, that we maybe something we can't control or something that's affecting us, you know, you'll notice it coming out in how you maneuver, you know, the day. And I feel like when you notice that, it's important to check yourself and be like, you know, hey, remember that like you do what you can with what you can control, right? Anything you can't control, like whatever, you just control what you can, which is yourself, you know? You don't have to, you know, take that energy out on other people, you know, because they didn't create this or whatever. It's just, checking yourself and being like, I'm not gonna make this negative energy seep out and onto others, you know? I'm gonna decide to like take that energy, transform it into something positive.
I mean, it is something that people need to practice. I think it goes back to being self-aware, and I feel like in general as people we lack self-awareness, or we lack the ability to see how we can be responsible for like maybe certain situations where people are what you might call it, sometimes you don't know how your energy or expressions, right, impact others, and they might not even realize that maybe around that moment their mood changes because of you, and noticing like micro expressions or just your energy, right? And so they reflect that back onto us, and then it upsets us, right?
Exactly.
And so now you
reflection.
feel like so everything is a reflection. Like it's and I feel like for me, when I think about myself, there was definitely a time where it's like I was not present in my mind, you know? It's like, and I think it's something that people really need to practice in general. And I'm not talking about pointing fingers like, you need to practice it. No, when I say people,
it would be nice if people practiced.
But I'm including myself, yourself, like everyone,
it might make
right?
the world a better place if we do this.
No, absolutely, no. Just like people should be taught to think. It comes back to it. It comes back to having the ability to self-reflect. Analyze everything you're feeling, be able to put words on your emotions or how you're feeling, right? And I feel like for me it's more like develop brain presence over your thoughts in a way, because my brain was thinking a lot before, and it's kind of you're hearing it but you're not hearing it, so it feels like you're present but you're not really. It's like you're letting your brain completely decide how you react to things. You're not really thinking. You're not really listening to yourself. You're not really paying attention to your thoughts, right? I felt like thoughts were just flying in my brain, and I could hear them. I could see them. I could, but it's like I was not being actively present in my own mind,
being conscious of like what you're thinking all the time, and which is a blessing and a curse.
Because you're scared. You're scared to focus on it, because if you do focus on it, you'll hear a lot of I doubt myself around this, I'm stressed about this, like all the self-doubts, all the negative things, there'll be some positive things, right? But a lot of times you're questioning your life. You're questioning, for me it was that I'm questioning my life. I'm questioning, what am I doing right now? Am I doing the right things? And I don't want to hear that. You know what I mean? So my thing was not to almost not be present in my brain. But I know there's a time when I decided to be like, okay, you know what? Let me actually be in my head and listen to myself and listen to my thoughts. And I started doing that. And that's when I saw things started changing for me. Because when you start paying attention, then you have the ability to say, okay, these are thoughts I don't want to experience, I don't want to have. So how can I go about changing them? And then I became more present in my brain, whereas now I can hear it. And because I hear it, I can go and correct it with something more positive. And whenever they come around now, I am able to do just that faster and faster. And now I can fully say that now I'm constantly in my brain. Not like before where it was just passing and I'm observing. Now I don't know how to explain this. It's like now I can say I'm fully present in my mind, which makes me then realize that when I feel certain emotions, like, right, when you ask me, oh, how your day is going, now I'm like, okay, now I know that in some kind of way I'm feeling down or I'm feeling tired. And now I'm able to be like, okay, well, what is it, Michelle? Like, what made you down? When did you notice you got tired? When did you notice you had a shift in your mood? Or did you wake up like this? Or no, it's tied to this thing that happened today, right? And so now I can come to Ash and be like, okay, well, actually I'm feeling down because this is what happened. Or I'm simply feeling tired, so I might not have the energy you expect of me when I'm doing okay. But hey, it has nothing to do with you. It's just that I woke up, maybe I didn't sleep well, or that thing that happened at work, or what that friend said, even though the conversation was going well, after that, when I reflect, it still impacted me enough that now my mood is a little lower. Right? So it's developing, it's like training for anything, like a work, like, right? It's developing presence of mind,
or just having an awareness of oneself, and you know, everything that's contained in oneself. I like how you brought up that example of you know, becoming more aware of when you have shifts in your mood or something like that. I feel like what's tied to that is just having moments of self-reflection. But most importantly, yeah, with that example is that you mentioned, of course, that sometimes people will try to block out, you know, their thoughts. So they're just kind of like they're just automatic, just living automatic, right? Just very mechanic. So that they don't hear the things that they, you know, it's their thoughts, right? Because they view it as negative, when those things, it's not meant to kind of make you feel like shit, you know. It might, right? But the whole point is that, like, for example, like, you gotta have those days where you seriously ask yourself, or you tell yourself, you know what I mean, like, if you are insecure, that's okay. You know, it's okay to be aware of that. Or if you lack confidence or whatever it is, those thoughts are to kind of like say, like, oh, this is what you're, you know, really feeling about yourself right now. And now that you're aware of it, you could change it. So even you being aware of, like, when you have shifts in your mood based on whatever happened at some point during the day, it's positive, because then you're able to communicate with me and be like, oh, hey, I'm just in a little bit of a mood right now. Like, and you do tell me, like, oh, I'm a little tired. Sometimes I have to dig, you know what I mean? To be like, because
at that point, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're searching for the answer. Like, what am I actually feeling right now? But all I know is that I may not know exactly what it is right now, but all I know is that, like, I need some space. You know, it's not you, but I'm letting you, making you aware that I'm feeling this way, or that something like that, you know? So it's actually really positive. And with everything that you said, the whole time I was thinking about how becoming aware of, you know, the thoughts you're having, I feel like it comes from spending time with yourself. Yeah. Like, have you ever just sat down in your room by yourself, whether like as a kid or as an adult or whatever, you know, and you're by yourself, you know, maybe there's no TV on, you're not on your phone, and you just sit there, maybe you're laying in bed and you're just sitting there and you're just like, where there's no distraction, no kind of other outside stimulus going on, it's just your mind, you know, like it's very uncomfortable in the beginning.
Yeah. You know what? I can say that not as a kid or not even before, because I used to cover that with noise all the time. I was having my AirPods all the time with music, right? Whenever I was going to work, to school, you know, and at home, I was always playing something because I was like alone around the house, right? I've been living alone since I was like 19. And so always around the house, there was always like maybe if I had a TV playing, or like on the computer, Netflix playing, or YouTube videos, because I used to watch a lot of documentaries. When I didn't have a TV, I mean,
you still watch a lot of documentaries. Everybody's like, what are we going to watch on Netflix tonight? And she's like, oh, you've already watched this? Oh, you've already watched this too? And like, I'm just like, okay.
Any documentary that comes, like I'm watching it. Like I just, you know what? And actually, I really think that also watching documentaries is one of the things that actually opened my mind to a lot, like learning a lot of different things and
different
wanting
forms of thinking.
And wanting to ask questions, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I maybe wouldn't be, I don't want to say at this level, but I wouldn't be around where I am right now if it wasn't for watching all these documentaries, because it got me to think about money.
Triggered things.
Yeah. Oh, why is there money? How does it work? Why are there poor people? Why are there rich people? And you know, when you listen to interviews, and you can tell when people are lying, right?
We try our best for the most part.
Yeah, but you can tell when the journalist asks a question and the person
looks like they pulled the answer out of their asshole.
Yeah. Or they're like, oh no, I don't want to. All of a sudden,
they don't even look like they believe in what they're saying.
Yeah. They become defensive, like all of a sudden. You know what I mean? I'm like, why would you be like? So it makes you wonder. Okay, what else is happening in this world that you don't know about? But anyway, so I feel like I was always hiding behind noise. And recently, these past few years, I would say 2 years, I really started that work. And especially after acupuncture, a short while after acupuncture, I started to be able to be without like my earphones a lot. Like I was not even carrying anything, right? And it made me realize, I looked back and I realized, wow, I was covering with a lot of noise. I couldn't hear myself. So therefore, because of that, I was never,
out the voices.
Yeah, I was never in my brain, right? I was avoiding, because let's be honest, it's painful. You don't want to listen to yourself and realize that I feel insecure. I feel like I'm not worth it. I feel like I'm not great enough in what I do. I feel like I have emotional issues, like I have emotional trauma. I put that emotional trauma maybe on other people, my friends, my partner, and that's why that's why if everyone sat down and really were in quietude and asked the questions and saw themselves, they would need therapy. Answers. Yeah, they wouldn't need therapy, because in therapy, what you're doing, you're just talking to yourself. The therapist is like your brain. It's asking you questions, or they're giving you the answers that it is just better when the therapist tells you, well, maybe you're insecure. And you're like,
versus you telling yourself.
Because when you tell it to yourself, it hurts, because you don't want to realize that.
Like imagine hearing your own thoughts. Say like,
you're insecure.
Like you're insecure. Like, you're pathetic. Maybe you're not because maybe it's relating to, I don't know, maybe like your weight not being active.
Yeah.
You're like, you're pathetic because you wanna and you don't even like the way you look or blah blah blah. Like those, and it's just like some of that you just gotta some real shit. To be honest, if that's how you're feeling, like we take those thoughts and we we use it to further push ourselves down when it should be using it to push ourselves up, you know. Those thoughts aren't to be like, oh, this is exactly who you are.
So,
you know,
why do you think as in general, right, people do that? We all put it aside. Like, why are we so afraid of looking inwards and looking at, like, why, when we look at these things, right, that's going on in your brain, and your brain is telling you all these things, like, why is it such a negative thing, or we perceive it as a negative thing for us, as something that's painful, instead of something that's just like, oh well, yeah, maybe I feel a little insecure, you know what, let me work on it?
Okay, 2 answers. Number 1, it's challenging. It is challenging, and it's people got to realize that when they make a choice, you're making that choice every day, you know, every moment. So with, you know, spending time with yourself, looking inward, right, it's extremely challenging. The second thing I immediately thought of is because of externalities, other people around us, comparison, you know. So then we start feeling like, oh, this is a negative thing because the person that I see at work every day, they're not like this, and they, like, everybody loves them, or like they always look amazing, and that's using comparison. You know, versus like when you have a thought, maybe it's like, oh, like you're insecure, you know. We shouldn't be relating that or using comparison in that. We, like, it's about you. It's not about the other person. You know, the other person is in some way of a reflection. It works in the form as a mirror. You know, so like if this could kind of make sense,
yes,
because it bounces.
Yes, I see.
You know, like the thing that's in you that you're ignoring, that maybe like it may not be entirely true, but it's something that you feel about yourself. You know, if you know that you're insecure, like, or maybe you might see someone and it's just like, oh, I'm feeling insecure. You know, it's not necessarily like your fault or the other person's fault. It's just that like something, or being in contact with someone, right, the experience itself like made you notice something that's probably been laying dormant, you know, in there that you've been possibly ignoring, or maybe something you never knew. Like for example, we touched on, you know, me getting into a relationship for the first time. You know, before then, like I was like, I was always alone. Like I really loved being alone. You know, while my siblings and just everyone else that I knew was like dating and like all that stuff. Like, yeah, you know, that just wasn't me. And then I got into the dating pool, you know, trying it out and stuff, like just not working out, right? And then meeting you, I would have never ever exclaimed myself to be like an insecure person, you know. But in some way, you know, our connection, our experience together, my, you know, experience with you, you know, it just kind of like immediately I'm like, oh, like I never knew that I'm feeling insecure, you know. But I could have took that and said, oh well, I don't know. I could have projected it back onto you or other people in my life.
Like, but why are you going there? With who?
Like, exactly. Which is, you know, unhealthy, right? Because then it's just like, oh, you're not solving. We're trying to grow or work on that insecurity, right? You're just finding other excuses other than to challenge yourself and deal with it, because it's not going to be like a overnight or like a one day thing. You're working on it for like, it could be a couple weeks, it could be a couple months. You know what I mean? And that's what people are not all people, but some people are not willing to do. They're not willing to be honest, invest that time into themselves, you know, because it's challenging. They want something that's easy, right? Now, just back to the story, right? Obviously, I could have took the kind of like quote unquote negative route and, you know, project it or just make excuses for myself. But instead, I went through the whole thought process of, well, Michelle has never shown me, and like she's never actually made me doubt you know, her loyalty to me or whether she liked me or whatever it was, you know what I mean? And I realized, I'm like, oh, this comes from, because like when I would try you know, start dating, I wasn't getting like yeses, you know. And even though for me it's kind of just like, I got to a point where it's just like, oh, like, yeah, an L is an L, you take your L and you walk away, you know. If you get a win, that's a win, that's great, you know, because if you like someone and you know, you can't force them to like you, right? So it's kind of like if they reject you in some kind of way, like if you're running after them,
no,
I don't know, that speaks to kind of your self-worth.
Yeah,
you know
what
I mean?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah. It's not cats and dogs. So yeah, instead I transformed it positively and said, I'm gonna work on this, you know, because it's not anyone's quote unquote problem, you know. It's something that I need to deal with, you know. And if I don't deal with it, then I could push away someone that's very, very good to me and lovely to me.
And that's what a lot of people do, actually. They create drama in the relationship, or they create issues out of nothing, and then you end up tiring your partner, and then next thing you know, you accumulate issues that comes out of your maybe insecurities, and then unfortunately there it's like, oh, like it becomes toxic. Or you end up splitting because it's like, you know, because the person is unwilling, or the two people are unwilling to work on themselves. You know?
And so, sometimes, you know, you in your, if it's your relationship or your friendship or maybe your work life or whatever it is, sometimes you do have to ask yourself, like, is it me? Or not necessarily, oh, like, is it them or is it me? It's just like you have to ask yourself, like, is there something about me that's also hindering, you know, the growth or potential of this relationship, or this connection, or how I maneuver my career, my work-life balance, whatever it is, you know? You said something really important earlier.
I realized, you know, I thought of one time I had this thought, because I share a lot of like health things on my story now, right?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, maybe people are getting fed up of always seeing the things that about health and maybe diet and making sure you clean your gut or things like this, right?
Yeah.
And then at that point I was like, it's funny because I remember a time where I would see these same things and it would like, piss me off.
Bullshit.
No, not bullshit. It would frustrate. No, yeah, it would frustrate me or make me stress a little bit. You know, so you're avoiding the videos. So there you go. So
because there's something deep down inside of you.
Exactly.
So just if you could kind of like go back in the past and try to, you know, connect it to the present. In those moments when you're frustrated about seeing those things,
it's because I want them. It's because deep inside, when I look back, it's because I wanted these things, you know. But it's like you're like, you're not focusing on them, or you're not giving time to it, and so you feel frustrated because you want to do it. But
see this right now.
Yeah.
You think about this right now.
You don't want to give it attention right now, but you know it's something you want, right? But you know it's gonna take time, maybe to research everything and stuff. So you're like,
it's challenging, isn't
it? Yeah. So you're
it's an investment in yourself. It takes time. Yeah. You guys, listen. And if I could just interject, sorry, Michelle. If I could just interject, I feel like just not embracing that journey to look inwards is deciding not to invest time into yourself, and that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, no, but
sometimes we invest so much time in like other things outside of ourselves, and leave literally 10% or 5% battery for ourselves.
Yeah.
How is that good?
It's not. No, it's you have to learn to say no and focus on yourself. But that's exactly when I realized. I was like, oh wow. So on the moment, I didn't know that my reaction to it, like, oh, the stress it would induce in me just by watching something or hearing something. I didn't realize then. What I realize now is that now when I look back, it is because I wanted to do something about it, and I was not ready at that moment. And so instead,
but you wanted it.
But I wanted it. And so I think a lot of the time when you have an emotional reaction to something, whatever it might be, if it's stress inducing, anxiety inducing, if it makes you sad, like
that's
if you see your
indication that it is really important to you. Sorry, I know we had conversations about this. Okay,
yes.
Sorry, I'm not going to interject.
Okay, wait. So if you're at work, like you said earlier, right? And you have a colleague who's really outgoing, speaking to a lot of people, and you're out there like being annoyed at them for a reason you don't really know. You know, if it triggers you, if it triggers you in some way,
there's something
it means there's something in you that wants what they have. And it's not necessarily about the person. It's just maybe you're looking at them interacting with others, and you just really wish you want to do that, right? But you can't put a word on what it is. And also because you don't spend time thinking about what it activates in you, then you are just angry at them for no reason, when the
just
real
being
reason
themselves, or you know,
and when the real reason is actually you're not pissed at them, you're pissed at yourself because you wish you could talk to others like they do.
You want to, but you know, you're just thinking too critically about it,
and because you don't self-reflect, then instead
you don't even know what
you don't know, and you stay
what you're really
pissed
doing.
At them.
Yes. So going back to the projection, right? So a lot of times, like you see, like I mean, there's definitely people that I've met where like they just talk shit about and I'm just like, I'm the type of person, I don't really give a fuck like that. You know what I mean? Like to each their own. You know, if I don't really fuck with someone, you know what I mean, maybe energy wise, I just leave it as that. I'm just like, okay, that's just not the person that I want around, like that energy around me, and that's that, you know what I mean? But I definitely notice for the people that they like to talk a lot about other people or a specific person all the time, almost as if it's hateration. You know what I mean? For some reason,
you gotta have haters. You gotta hate on some people.
Of course, like what did Cat Williams say? It's just like, if you got whatever amount of haters,
you got no one hating on you, feel free to hate on me.
Yeah. If you got 10 haters, by next year you got to figure out how to have 20 or some shit, like 100. If you have haters, that's a good thing. It means that, like, to me at least, it means that there's something there's something in them that they maybe you're not aware of, or they're So going back to the projection thing, right, is that like we, instead of taking that homework and doing it inwards, we decide to critique the other person instead of just critiquing ourselves,
and that's
like having
hard.
Self-critique. Because hard. At the end of the day, it's just like if someone does something that you don't like, who gives a damn?
No one gives a shit.
Like, is it really that deep? It's not, But because whatever it is that it's relating to the inside of you is, it is that deep to you. That's why you feel that
when
way.
it triggers you, you have to think about why does it trigger you?
And there's no problem asking yourself questions like why. I feel like when you the more questions you ask yourself, you'll get to the root of what it is, and then you'll be like, and once you're so aware of it, like, at least for me, I feel like there should be no choice other than to work on it, whatever it is, grow, learn from it. But of course, some people, I feel like that awe moment is where it's kind of just like, it's more positive, where it's like, oh, that's what that is. Like, I need to, but some people may not get the awe moment. They may know, where it comes from, but they're just, it's comfortable to kind of just like keep operating how they've always been operating, right?
It makes
and
me
just
think,
pointing fingers.
It makes me think before I used to hear that thing like, oh, you know how people tell you, like the people who meditate, right? Or is it monks and stuff like this, like the
Buddhists and stuff?
They tell you're basically, at some point you reach a point where you have to be you have to observe your emotions. Yes. And there's a way to just observe your emotions without being them. Like, emotions basically are not you. And I was like, what the?
Because you listen, someone could I don't know, just go through something like, I don't know, maybe let's just use a silly example. A girl just buys a pizza. She walks out the pizza shop, and maybe she really wanted that pepperoni pizza. She's been waiting all week for it. She walks out, someone bumps into her, she drops the pizza,
Yeah.
and then she goes to work, because that's where she was headed to bring the pizza to her coworkers or whatever it is, and she's like, oh well guys, I unfortunately I didn't bring the pizza, but maybe next time, like, it's just like you could walk away from certain things and not have
to be upset,
like to have those negative emotions control you. And remember from the book, I've been reading for a while, because there's just so many books I'm reading, but I need to prioritize reading it. Awaken the Giant Within. With
this one is like your Bible, though. You're reading it's like the Bible to you.
Nothing is like the Bible to me.
No.
Like,
I mean, like,
there's no book that is ever going to be like the Bible to me. I am the Bible. In my life, I am the Bible. You just said you
were not religious earlier.
No, I am. We're just using the term Bible as an ideology.
People gonna come and roast you. Who are you to say you're the Bible?
I know all the Christians just be like,
you're not the Bible.
How dare you question our Lord? Was like, that's not what I said. What I mean to say is that, okay, like, this is my life, right? So there's a word. I am that word to myself. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Wait. Okay. Wait. We need to come back to this. But wait one second. Yeah. Okay. So
let's see where we can go with this. Yeah, guys, just give me another chance. Okay. We're gonna re-explain this, and so it makes sense. Okay. Also, we love Christians. We just make fun of them a lot. Well, make fun of everybody, right? But we love y'all. We love y'all.
We love everybody.
Yeah, we love everybody. Because that's what the all does. Okay, loves everybody.
Yeah. So wait. So
they're gonna be like, "Are you sure you bitches aren't Christian?" Because you sound
spiritual. We are Christian.
Yeah, spiritual. Yeah. I just love how we can laugh about all this.
Yeah. So I said, right, you, like, people are like, oh yeah, you don't have to be your emotions, like, you can just observe them. And I was, what the hell does how do you not, like, because
how do you separate yourself?
Yeah, because it feels like it's such a part of you. How can you, because you feel it in your body, you feel the anger, or you feel the pain, and you want to cry, you feel the sadness. So how can you just sit there and observe? But they also tell you, when it comes, let it just come.
Yeah,
it stays. Exactly. You feel it, and then it goes away alone. But if you try to fight, control it, that's when it intensifies. It stays. You carry it around because you identify as if you are that emotion. I am sad. Period. We keep saying I am sad. I am pissed. You are not sad. You are not pissed. It's just something like that passes by. You don't have to hold on to it.
Exactly. So that's why I brought up the book, right? So, there's nothing wrong with feeling your emotions. Like, we all have a range of emotions. That's completely normal. After all, we are still human, right? So,
are we,
like,
are we though? Are we human?
Find out on the next Flowcast. the next topic is, are we human? What does it mean to be human? That's going to be a complex one. Where was I at?
The book.
Yes, the book. The emotions. Yes. Oh my goodness. I was No, I didn't lose it. So you mentioned, like, embracing the being like, oh, I am sad and all that stuff. So there's nothing. There we go. There's nothing wrong with having these emotions. First of all, they exist. There's also nothing wrong with feeling those emotions. So it's important that if you are self-aware enough that when you do feel it, you could kind of just, for example, in our connection, right? You're feeling something, you let me know. So now I'm aware that, okay, because if you're alone with yourself, you could kind of give yourself that space. But if you're in a relationship, it could become tricky, right? Or just interacting with people, you're at work and you're constantly like, it's important to just, you don't have to be like, oh, this and this happened, it's like, oh, like, can you give me a minute? I just need
space.
You know, or like you do something that's gonna kind of help elevate, you know, your spirit to kind of like take that negative emotion, like the grips off of you. So why I brought up the book, right, is because I shared you the example of how they were like, I guess, like two CEOs at the time that Tony was dealing with two quote unquote important people, and something happened, and one of them, let's say person A, reacted very badly, was like, oh, like, what the hell, I'm pissed off, blah 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 blah. And then person B, you know, who was as important, said, oh, I'm a bit peeved, which means that, oh, I'm a bit annoyed. So how is it that in this same situation that they're experiencing, you know, whatever it is, maybe, I don't know, the company just lost, I don't know, $1 million. I don't really know. I can't really recall too much, but there may have not been deep details. But he was thinking like, oh, how can, like, they're experiencing the same thing. This person has decided to, you know, take that emotion like further, you know. And I say that because in that moment, yeah, like both people could have been feeling like rage or like, you know, like just being super angry. But one person decided, because I do believe there's choice in this.
Yes.
One person decided, you know, it's not that big of a, it's not going to be that big of a deal to me. You know, the other person was just like, I am going to make it that big of a deal, you know? So that's what I wanted to point out, is that like, honestly, yeah, there's nothing wrong with having emotions, like I said, or being a quote unquote emotional person, you know what I mean? But I feel like a person needs to know how to control themselves. And I don't just mean this emotionally. I just mean like in general, you know, like, are you a plastic bag in the wind? This is from a Katy Perry line. It's really popular. It's just really popular. You know, are you a plastic bag, you know, just blowing in the wind? If the wind blows south, you're going south. If the wind blows west, you're going west. Like, do you have control over your life? You know?
Yeah.
And that could be, that's in the smallest things of just being like, this thing just happened. You know what I mean? Like some people need a long time to kind of analyze something, right?
Yeah.
But the more you get used to it, the more you could kind of like analyze quickly and be like, okay. You know,
I've seen that
you
with myself.
Yeah,
I've seen that. The more you do it, the more you're like, oh yeah, no, I could have impacted me more, but now it's just like, oh, whatever, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day,
maybe not just even like whatever, just because I feel like if we say whatever, you know, our listeners might be thinking like, oh, it's just meant to kind of be as easy as whatever, like it's not important. No, maybe what happened is important, you know, but you just decide in that moment that like, oh, I'm gonna deal with this a little bit later, you know, like you kind of.
But at the end of it though, when you really think about it,
nothing's gonna bother you that much. Yeah,
I like to think about it. If you're on your deathbed today, is that thing really, like, does it really matter right now? Like, is it something you really want to spend your time just like, and your emotions just being annoyed, pissed? Like, does it really matter like this, that you want to carry it for the whole day? You want to be pissed for the whole day? You know what I mean? Because when you really, because when you really think about it, most of the time it's not worth it. But that is,
you could have been having a bomb ass day, but you
ruin it all the time. And a lot of times, it's actually no one is ruining your day for you. You ruin your day, and I think it comes back to, we do not really enjoy to hear that we are responsible
for ourselves,
like
period.
Like health, if you take health, because right now with all of what we're doing, right, you see a lot of people who, like, for example, a lot of people will go to the doctor and they'll be like, oh, maybe you have diabetes, or maybe you have cancer, right? And those are very controversial subjects. Why? Because we've been told to believe, or we've been taught to be in fear of cancer and diabetes, especially cancer, right? So, and now a lot of younger people have cancer. You get diagnosed around your 30s, and sometimes it's already stage 4, and then you drop dead, right? So now the thing is, who the hell wants to go to the doctor and hear the doctor say, but you know, a lot of it is actually your lifestyle. And so that means essentially that a lot of it, you created it. It's your choices that bring you here. No one,
100%.
No one wants to hear that, and it's understandable,
ways,
because it hurts, and because you've never been taught to be responsible for your health. We've all been taught that when you get sick, you go to the doctor, and the doctor has to will be the one directing you for your health, right? We'll tell you what you need to do. We'll tell you how to heal yourself. We'll tell you how to, we'll give you something that'll heal you. So you learn to be dependent on the doctor. So if that doctor tells you, you know what, it's actually your lifestyle, people will get pissed because you don't want to hear that. It hurts even more to face the mirror, to hear the doctor say, your life choices have brought you here, and you brought yourself in a situation where now you are sick, where now you feel uncomfortable in your body, where now you have like I feel like someone who's able to, I feel like when you go to the doctors, they may not say it exactly like that. Oh no, they won't.
I mean? Yeah, they're like, okay, well, you have this and these are the solutions, I feel like, maybe there are some doctors that
some doctors are very straightforward.
It's your lifestyle, like I could tell by your
like
blood work or whatever.
The lecture we watched once, that black
about the cow plus milk and stuff.
That guy.
That one I love.
During
that guy.
the lecture,
you need to watch more of him. Yeah,
he was. Listen, guys, that doctor. I think I mentioned his name in my second episode.
I would love to go sit and just
because he's one of the one of the documentaries on Netflix, the plant-based one that we watched, and that I was like, that got us, that same evening I was like, you know what, I want to go like plant-based. You know what, he was in there, and already you can see how he can be for super joyous to being pissed at everyone when he explains why
he's
people shouldn't
very funny
be drinking milk.
and serious at the same time, and I'm just like, I would enjoy this class. Like,
I would enjoy his classes a lot. But so it's that thing, right? And it's hard. It's just, let's be honest, even for me a couple months ago, if I would go to the doctor, right? Let's say I had something and I go to the doctor, and the doctor was one of those doctors who, they don't give a fuck. They're like, you know what? This is your fault. I would be pissed. I'll be like, what did I do? I didn't do nothing. I take care of myself. I eat well. I'm like, why would you say it's my fault? What the hell? You're supposed to help me. You're supposed to, because we've been taught to be dependent on others. We've been taught to depend on
We've also been programmed to, like, we got the food pyramid, what we should eat, how much of it.
Exactly.
What things to take when you're feeling this. Yeah. And, it also... it's streamlined, generationally as well.
You're like a hard drive. The first 7... People don't understand. Most of the time, as an adult, everything you do, everything you are, is from the first 7 years of your life. Because at that time, you're downloading everything. When you think about how can a baby go from not talking to talking? Just by listening to you and watching your actions.
Absorbing the externalities outside of them, their environment.
So it's like the first 7 years of our lives are spent absorbing like a hard drive. So that very now,
special years.
When you're in a relationship with someone, right, or with your friends, a lot of the time, all your emotional reactions are based from everything that triggers you is tied to something that happened in your childhood, whether you want it or not. It's from your childhood. Most of the time, our emotions comes from our child self.
You'd be surprised how, to be honest, like, you'd be surprised how many people go to therapy, and
it's all tied to childhood.
And you find out it's just like, because when I was 3 years old, my sister kicked me in the shin, and that's why something. It's like, even that's a very wild example, but it could be something simple. Just simple. But for some reason
your dad just picked up your brother for a second too long, and at that split second you felt like you were not cared for, and that little thing you carried on. For some reason, it hurt you, and you can't explain it because you were a child, right? But at that moment, you looked at your brother, maybe a little like, oh, what's happening?
Does dad love him more than me?
Yeah, and then you carry that some way or the other.
It's stored. It's like, think about the storage that's all the way in like the basement level. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think so that's why it's
like
important
P10
that's
and
why
it stores it there.
Stop it. That's why it's important to be able to have conversations with yourself. I remember
you find out a lot of shit.
I was talking with my brother once because he came here once he came here once, right? And we were having those conversations actually where he was like, sometimes I go in my notes on my like phone, and I'm thinking about something that I had a thought of, or an emotional thing, or something that bothers me, and I ask myself why does it bother me, and I answer, and then why does that blah blah blah, and then why until you reach that point where you reach the source, and then you realize, oh, it comes from there, and then you can actually get to work on. But until you get that final answer, you don't know where it's coming from, but you have to investigate. And a lot of time in our relationship, that's what I've been doing, right? I'm like, oh, now I realize this reaction probably comes from this moment in my childhood. And I see how it's tied, and I'm like, oh my God, right? If it wasn't for that, and that's the thing, we never know until we experience anything. Just like you in the beginning, you said that you would think that you were secure, perfect, fine, and then
secure ass person. I don't know.
And then you came with me, and at some point you felt insecure, and you were like, wow, it's not something I ever expected. But it's because now you are in a situation where you're experiencing something different, right? And it came up as a new thing that you never knew about yourself. And so that's why I'm saying, even for health, it's like people do not know themselves until they experiment with themselves, until you put yourself in a certain situation. You're comfortable with eating meat and drinking dairy, and it does not affect you whatsoever. So you think, okay, so put the challenge to go 1 month without it, or 2 months without it, and maybe see how then after that going back to these foods affect you. And then you can decide, oh yeah, it did not affect me that much, or you realize, oh wow, I used to feel like there was no issues, right? And then now I feel like more bloated when I go back to the foods I was eating. And then you can be like, oh, this is something interesting that I've learned, right? Because I never would have imagined that, oh, quitting these things that people say are good for you are actually making me feel all these types of ways that I would have no idea about.
Yeah, I feel like, to be honest, this whole process of,
but wait, it has to be, I would say people want to try 2 weeks. 2 weeks is definitely not enough. If you wanted to do that, you would need to do 2-3 months to really see like the difference.
Okay.
Yeah. 2 weeks is not enough.
So what I'm thinking about this entire thing is that it's really just learning yourself. Yeah, we're just there's just so much exterior stimuli that's it's like you're the wall, and the external things are like is the projector, and it's just projecting images onto you, and then you take what you kind of like and you run with that, right? But just this whole process of just spending time with yourself, even if it means being in a quiet corridor or something like that, just thinking more about how you react to things or why you reacted to some things, because in those moments where you're thinking about like a moment that just previously happened, it's important not to judge yourself, but to just be like, oh well, that's the way that happened, and like why did that happen the way it did, and all of it is a form of, like I said, investing investing time into yourself, right? Which is what you deserve, right? After all, it is you. Yeah, after all, it is you, right? You deserve that self-investment, but you're learning about yourself.
Okay, I have a question for you. Sure. Earlier when I read that passage, she said that basically whatever is happening now in the present is something that you manifested, right? A couple months ago, whoever we are right now is something that we thought we would be, or we thought about
something that's been building over time. It doesn't just happen.
So the person you are right now, when you reflect back, how were the things you were thinking about, both positive and negative, how much of that is who you are right now at this moment?
A lot.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot.
your insecurities, your all those negative and positive? Because
I mean I was thinking of this in the positive, the negative things. I mean, I feel like those quote unquote negative things, they happen like consistently over time. You know, so even just having that ability, having the opportunity to, you know, to go inwards, that came from, you know, that it happened because of a moment you had, you know, today, Monday, December 23rd, you know.
Now you gave up your birthday. Capricorn baby.
I'm dead. I can't believe I did not give up my birthday. All I said was, it's Monday, December 23rd. So now our listeners know my birthday. Yeah, y'all are knowing too much about me. This is weird. I'm a Capricorn. Okay, y'all. This is too fast. This is going too fast. You know, let's take it slow, please, Michelle. Well, God. You know, yes, it is true. My birthday is December 23rd. Shout out to your girl. Cash at me. If you love me that much, you'll do it.
Send the money. Send the money.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, so like I was saying, those opportunities to self-reflect come from, you know, the moments where things happen. You know, maybe that situation between you and your boss Monday morning, you know, it allowed you to think about something that you never thought of before. No, wait. You know, but from what I understand from your question is that I in a positive way, it's just like, yes, like the things that I wanted for myself, like about myself,
opening up to others.
Yeah,
you
like there's
that.
Yeah, a lot of things I definitely manifested. I said, oh, this is what I want, and I'm gonna put it into work. But when it comes to the negative things, I can't say that. Oh, I mean,
procrastination
in some kind of
not
ways.
That I'm trying to point
negative
fingers, I'm just
negative situations. You mean, like in.
No,
I'm gonna have to think a little more deeply about this before
It's not like you thought you manifested the fact that maybe sometimes you procrastinate or you still procrastinate,
and it definitely manifests something. Like if you wanted to kill that presentation, you know, that you got on Friday, and you were procrastinating, like in a way you
manifested.
Because you're cramming in the last like few hours of the day, and in a way, you manifested that shit.
You know what I don't like? You know what I really don't like? Y'all better not do this to your kids or anyone. Actually, is, you know, when your kids or your friends have kind of like dreams or hope, or they say, oh, I kind of want to do this crazy thing, or oh, I would love to do this as a job, or oh, I want my life to be beautiful, I want to own this and that, and then you have people laughing at them like like who are you, like you're
killing that,
you don't have that, and it's like,
just confidence.
Why do you do that? Why do you do that to people? You know, this world was created by people who were crazy enough to think of making crazy things like a plane,
fucking spaceships, planes, boats. Just like there's,
I want to
fly technology. Look at technology.
I want to fly 180 people in a plane that looks like a bird that's flying in the sky across continent. People at that time would have been like, "Yo, you smoke that stuff. You definitely smoke too much. You need
I
to
thought you were gonna say something like, "Yo, you, like you need to be put in like the white jacket." Yo, you smoked that stuff.
No, what
exactly did they smoke?
People would have called you like, you're
insane.
You're insane.
Yeah, you're crazy.
Who are you? You need to be put
around
in the house
and spread rumors and be like, "Oh, this person, like they're crazy.
Yeah.
They're saying they want to do this," and then you do it, and they're just like, "Oh shit, that person's a genius."
Yeah, but and that's the thing, is it always is after when it happens that now people recognize and respect. But on the moment, it's like, why don't you believe this person wants to? And if why aren't we allowed to? It's like that audio book I sent you like yesterday, right? It says why it's okay to want good things. It's okay to want money. It's okay to want beautiful things. It doesn't mean you're pompous or like you disregard everyone else and you want it. No, it's just you want good. Why are we put on this earth? To be miserable? We want to be happy. If that is what makes you happy, and
I
I'm
think
not
deep
saying
down
here,
here everyone wants to be happy.
Yeah.
I'm just so I was so continue, because I want to see the relation to like what we were. it's possible.
Now you lost me.
It's possible you just went on a tangent.
Yeah. No, but what? Okay,
I'm just like, yes. How does this tie into everything?
Okay,
I'm like
wait.
listening.
Yeah. Oh, crap. Now I lost myself. But
It's
yeah,
okay.
I think what I wanted to say is just that
But leading off of that, I have a question. Because what stood out to me in your tangent was the fact that it seems as if we should be like overly concerned about what other people are doing, you know, like if for example like creating inventing something, you know, like
we keep thinking that others can do and we can't.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm trying to get to. It's another, just to tie back to like the topic, the subject matter at hand, Your Honor, is it's just that. Now I cannot be losing my train of thought in this. What the but yeah, self-reflection, right?
Yes.
The mirrors and all that stuff, because you'll also notice that like for someone that wants to do something, you know, it's important to them, like it's their passion, whatever it is, and like people maybe there'll be that person that's just like, you know, being the negative Nancy and like always talking about that person. I mean, you're giving that person free promo.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way,
thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
So you're, instead of taking that time and investing it in yourself, you're also giving them your time.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
like
that's
you're
crazy.
willingly giving away your time to put in something when that should be, they're getting extra time. You know.
You're
and then
wasting
you're
time.
leaving yourself with literally like a
Nothing.
minute. Yeah, maybe 30 seconds at most, right? Because your battery's like really low. So yeah, is it really worth being overly concerned about what other people are doing? You know, and the mirror part, you know, it comes in by like thinking in a way where it's just like, yeah, what makes me jealous about this person? You know, is it a characteristic, a quality of themselves that I want to manifest for myself?
It's
you know,
always that.
is it? It's usually always that. It's just like that person is like. But I think that's so beautiful. Like when if you feel an emotion like that, and you can kind of like go inwards and realize that. I feel like it's like, oh, like. It's saying that you wanna contain that quality, you know. It's whatever the quality is, a beautiful quality, you know, just being able to smile at people, or just having the confidence in yourself that you're capable of achieving something, or like having that trust in yourself. You know, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful wanting, you know. But we just take the negative, and we tend to run with that, right? Which is just self-destruction.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, I think it's different for the kids who grew up with parents who are constantly encouraging them to like, oh, yeah, you can do whatever you want. You can do anything you want. And then you have a kid who was like, yeah, they're not overly concerned about other people. They're like, yeah, I can take failures because, you know, at the end of the day, I've been taught that it's okay. I'm allowed to fail. I'm allowed to pursue what I really want to pursue. So these kids have naturally like a confidence about them because they've been taught to have that confidence. Whereas majority of the people, they grow up with like, oh, well, this is what you should do for your life. Okay, no, don't go and do these things because you need to be a lawyer, you need to be a doctor. Everything else is not great for you. So you have a lot of like, you know, especially African parents, you know, it's like, oh, like, if you tell them you want to do arts, it's like, oh, arts? it's not anything.
You better go to medical school.
Yeah, just go
get
become
yourself
a doctor.
in
Yeah,
law
yeah,
school.
yeah.
Go be an engineer.
Yeah.
Talking about artists.
But there's a way to make money as an artist. What if they encouraging you to become very creative, like utilize
that support and encouragement? You're building tools.
Yeah, you're building tools for your kids. Really.
And it's really beautiful when there's the assistance of a community. You know, your family, your friends. Yeah,
everyone should just be more supportive, because at the end of the day,
as long as you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah, no one wants to be unhappy in this world. No one wants to be unhappy. We spend too much time thinking about the others, sabotaging ourselves, you know. And we really need to start thinking about the fact that everything,
causing our own chaos.
Yeah, everything is a mirror. If something bothers you, you need to investigate why it bothers you.
Like how Michelle's like, you need to. Which therapist do you prefer? Do you prefer therapist Ashley or therapist Michelle?
No, I don't think they. No. You're more articulate. I'm much more like, what's it called?
Whatever words are generating, they're coming out just like that.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, with me, that's what it is. Yeah, yeah. And
I'm
that
just joking with you.
No, but that in a way is because I'm a little more emotional, right? So not that you're not emotional, is that you have the more of that capacity to
run emotions. Emotions don't run me.
Okay,
to freedom.
Wait. Oh shit, that
was a very short laugh, and that was a very good joke. Excuse me. Thank you. Continue laughing. Yes. Don't stop until I say stop. Yes, keep on going. I know I'm hilarious as fuck.
Sorry, I need to learn my buttons.
That's so funny.
I mean, I guess I'm raw. It comes, and I'm learning to just. That's the cat, y'all.
The scratching you hear is
Cece.
She's having a great time.
But anyways, it's no. I think, you know, the books, and this is a book from 1912. All these laws are like old, right? But it's really the way. What they're basically saying is that if you want to understand yourself, you have to look at nature and you have to look at the universe. Because if you understand how nature works or the universe works, then basically you understand yourself and how you work. Because it's the same thing. It's a mirror to one another. Every element that the universe is made of, you possess within you. You're alike, so above, so below, so below, so above. So everything is a mirror. When you look at someone else, everything you react to, there's something you're reacting to within you. It's never about the other person. It's not always a them problem. It's always about you, inside of you. You know, whenever you react to something,
life is both about you and not about you at the same time.
Exactly. Whenever you react to things, you have to investigate. It comes from within.
Yeah, and I know we did speak a lot of like and I guess in sort of a negative context, or like you observe the negative things, right? But like there could be positive things.
No, there
like
are positive
maybe
things,
you just have this like, oh, I want to be that person's friend. You know, there's something about them that you know, and maybe because it resonates with some, you know, belief or something inside of you, you guys are vibrating on the same frequency.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
To put it in those terms, you know. So there are extremely positive aspects to it, right? Which is still something you could learn from as well. You know, it's just that most times those things that do pop up, they do tend to kind of like be quote unquote negative. And I say put that in quotations because they're actually meant to be positive. If you could understand from everything that we said, right? Using them to kind of be like, have those moments, and it's like, oh, okay, now that I'm so thankful that this thing happened between this person, because I was able to find this thing about myself, and now that I'm aware of it, I have the power, you know, to grow or whatever it is. So that's the positivity that comes from it. That's the beauty of it.
It's I don't know. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's always like you
people are meant to challenge you.
Yeah. And I really think I wasn't wrong when I told you, you know what, maybe my life should be about myself, in the way that I don't want to focus on the job. I want to focus on me and growing and learning, because
everything else will fall into place. If you
but
invest in yourself.
Though, because do you know how much time we're spending on that job? I need to find that job. Or my career, I don't know where it's going. Oh, what should I be doing?
Have you ever thought about what you wanted?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like what you really wanted.
What do you want? We're always focusing on the outside world. Like, that job. What do you want that's not tied to society?
Societal, ideologies and just man-made ideologies.
Yeah. What do you want for yourself if it wasn't for a job or any of those things? Like, what do you want for yourself? For myself, I know I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to get a hold on my emotions. I want to understand them. I want to understand what triggers me. I just want to evolve mentally, to the point where I don't want things to affect me. I want to be able, like those monks or whatever, to observe everything and know that I have the power to decide how I'm going to react. I don't want to be defined by a job. I don't want a job to define me. I want to focus on me and myself and my growth, believing that by focusing on me, everything else will align. The things I want to do in my life, those opportunities will present themselves through the means of a work, through the means of friends, through the means of
anything in this world could be a learning opportunity.
Exactly.
It could be the simplest thing as, I don't know, maybe you observe something in nature and it just for some reason it gives you that introspection.
Yeah, and we love that.
Yeah.
Remember, I love water. I love mirrors, even in my photo work, right?
Yeah,
at least in
the
school,
water is like a mirror.
Water. I'm like, why am I so interested in water and reflections? And now I'm like, oh my God, now that we just had this reflection, this talk reflection. And the law of correspondence and stuff, he talks about mirrors, right? Now I'm like, oh my God, like it makes so much sense. It's like through my work, it feels like I'm constantly looking for myself. I'm searching for myself through nature.
And mirrors and why, and what I love about, your knack for like water and like it's reflection, you know what I mean, is that like mirrors aren't perfect. So that water, when it's still looks like a flat nice mirror, right? You go throw a rock in it, it's going to be ripple effect. You're going to know that, like, because there is no such thing as perfection. If there was such thing as perfection, you got to point to that thing and be like, that thing is perfection, and everyone else has to agree that that's perfection. But anyways, mirrors aren't perfect. So also I feel like sometimes when for those interacting with the person, and it's just like, that person is not perfect either, so sometimes people are like, oh, I need to be like them, I need to be them, and it's just like, you're the outside eyes looking at them,
a good example, body dysmorphia, because people who look in the mirror, they can see literally themselves like fatter or thinner than they are. So what does that say about the mirror? It's not the mirror, it's your brain.
It's inside.
It's your mind. It's what's reflected in the mirror. You're seeing what your mind wants to see or what you believe.
And maybe that came from like, you're on Instagram looking at like, because there's the influencers, like bodybuilders, like guys that you're just like, oh man, he looks so good and he's so big, and then it triggers that like, oh, I'm not as big as him, and then maybe you are big, you know what I mean, maybe not as big as him, but you are big, and then you take that thought, you look in the mirror and you see yourself as kind of like, I don't know, smaller, and someone else will be like, no man, you're big, you're like the same size, the same, just like no,
A lot of times it's that. Yeah, I think that's a good example. It's like the mirror it reflects exactly what you like, physically what you are, but then it all starts in your brain. If you want to see yourself larger, then in the mirror you're gonna see yourself, you see yourself the way you are, but you perceive yourself as larger than you are.
Exactly. But with the perfection, right, like the externalities that are the mirrors, right, those aren't perfect. And even the mirror inside your mind, that's not perfect either, you know. So we could either, like, you know, be like, okay, I need to be exactly like that person because they're perfect. And that means, you know, what, like, because what you want is like, there's a quality about them, right? Or something, you know, it's not actually like that you want to be them, you know, you could jump inside their body and maybe realize like, oh, they're not perfect, you know, so someone could jump inside if it was possible and be like, oh shit, you're not perfect either, you know. And I feel like when we do have these things that come up, it's kind of just like, oh, I'm not perfect. You were no one is perfect. Like I said, everyone in the entire world has to agree on that one thing and be like, that is perfect. Can we point towards something, all 7 billion or however many people there's in the world, and say like, oh, I lost track. This is this thing, like we could all agree that that's perfection. I don't think we've got right. So perfection doesn't even exist. So let's stop, you know, the critique of oneself is for development, you know, like we just, sometimes you just like, our minds just transform things like negatively. It's just like, no, there's the black and white to it, you know. Maybe you should flip the page and look at the other side, you know. Instead of the first thought that comes to you, you're like, oh, I'm insecure, okay, like I'm not a cool person, you know what I mean, and not doing anything with that insecurity, when maybe you could flip the page, look on the bright side and be like, okay, insecurity is this, I'm insecure in these things, okay, and here are some things that I could try to kind of like work on myself. You know, also never you know, always look. It's like when you're presented a contract, I hope you look at all the pages, including the back page, right? That's a good analogy for it.
Okay,
read all the pages.
Before we leave, you also said something interesting before. You said that people are not necessarily bad. No one is really actually bad.
Yeah,
there's no such thing as like a bad person.
Yeah, so this might have to be for a different Flowcast. Okay. Yeah, because I would want to prepare something a little bit, you know, more thoughts around this. But I was explaining to you, like, you know, my philosophy of religion class, because like I really like learning about God, or the all, the be all, the all, the all of the all. The infinite. So yeah, you know, yeah, being created in the be-all's mental image, you know. So
yeah, I'll read the passage next time.
Yeah. So then they understand. They're just like, what, man? These bitches are too deep. Like, I can't. You guys lost me in the first 30 seconds. Like,
what is the all?
Yeah, it's just like probably a Flowcast you have to listen to quite a few times to kind of like maybe understand some things, which is okay. But yeah, people aren't. Yeah, I don't believe people like are just innately like bad, because I feel like, yeah, we do come from that mental image of the all, and if the all is, you know, known to be, you know, all-knowing, omnipotent, and good, then like everything that is created, you know, from the all, how can you call that like, oh, that creation is bad? Yeah, you know. So I said, so like I mean, yeah, maybe I'll develop this more and do another Flowcast for it, because I do like to share some things that I've learned in philosophy class, and I genuinely love learning about you know, God, and
because, you know, yeah, I think it's worth another episode, because a lot of people come with it like, oh, well, if there's a God, why are there bad things happening? We're failing to realize that it's just like happiness, and to experience happiness, you need to know what sadness is. It would mean there's no balance, and there's no such thing in nature. There's always a negative and a positive. There's always a positive force and a negative force.
Some kind of reflection, some bouncing.
Yeah, without the other,
off of.
there's nothing would exist. It needs to be positive and negative. It comes together. So we're not talking. Listen, we're not talking about the people who go out there killing the others or please.
Yeah, we're not justifying those motherfuckers.
Yeah. Please, we're not justifying that. But if you want to think about it, right? Because one time I had a class that was interesting, and I'm not going to go over what that teacher explained, but basically you can reach a point where you pull back enough that you understand that, hey, even these people, they must have gone through something in their childhood. Again,
so,
it's
yeah,
always the childhood.
something in their life that you know, it just like a ripple affected,
and it affected them to the point where unfortunately they committed a bad thing. Does that mean we excuse the bad thing? Does that mean that we excuse the bad thing? No. Does that mean that the person in their deep in their core,
accountability, right?
Yeah. Does that mean in the person,
an ethical world as well?
Does that mean that the person at their core is bad? They're not, but they did something terrible, unfortunately, based on a series of events or something that happened. They were not born this way. Something happened early on or throughout their life, something repetitive, whatever the heck it is, I don't know, that just turned them into committing things that we are not fucking excusing. But it means that you're on, it's like, how can I say this? You understand life on another level a little bit, where you understand that there's no such thing as a bad person. The events,
it's being able to just, I mean, I don't know if many people do this, and we use, Michelle used that example, but the point she's trying to get at here is that it's not necessarily like being able to step in another person's shoes and because I feel like stepping in another person's shoes is kind of like, okay, well, yeah, they went through this, so it kind of justifies why they did that. It's like, no, it's like, it just like observing, like learning about other people's lives and seeing the things that they did or failed to do or whatever it is, like it can teach you a lot about, that person. It just, like the title, like the subject matter, life is both not about you and all about you. I mean, like if you just, if in this world it was just you, there's no one else. You know what I mean? If you decide to, I don't know, take a rock and, I don't know, throw it into the ocean, or some, I don't know, step on an ant, that's a better example. Step on an ant, how would you say, like, how could someone be like, okay, that's wrong, because you're the only one existing in the world, right? But because we live, it's not just me in here, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I meant by like, ethics.
That's your example. My example would be that I could commit a murder.
Okay.
My example is this one. There were moments where I was really upset. Now, could I have killed someone? I don't think so. I don't think so. But could I? I possibly could.
You'd have to be pretty fucking upset. I don't know.
But that's the thing. The point is,
anything is possible.
Anything is possible. I could commit something that I don't see myself as a person ever doing. But the reality is that I could be led to this point. We never know, right? And at that point, people would see me as this horrible person who committed a horrible act, and they're a bad person, whereas I was always a good person. It's just that at a certain moment, unfortunately, you let yourself be fully. It's like, we don't realize, I don't think we realize how much we live in a world where we control our emotions, right? A lot. We have to, because if you become angry and you let yourself completely go, where you remove
people
logical
have those moments,
thinking. People, and that's why in the US they take their gun. They take their gun, they come out of the car, they shoot you, or they shoot you. And you're like, how is it? Yeah, because at that moment they're so upset about,
because they cut me off in the road, so they,
And it's so unreasonable. Why? But why did that person got so upset at something so small that they got to commit? Does that mean they're a bad person?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's not about like, don't judge a book by it's you know,
it's very complicated.
This is a complicated topic, of course, and you know, I feel like this is also another good topic for another Flowcast, right? But yeah, it's a very complicated one for many, right? Everyone has different beliefs, right? But I do believe that like it's like looking at the cover of a book and being like, oh, like this is going to be
a good book or a bad book,
a good book or a bad book, you know. So yeah, you could, yeah, I don't I don't really know where else to go from there. Yeah,
it's the natural flow, the natural end flow of
yeah, I guess so.
This conversation.
Yeah, interesting example. I feel like with any subject matter, like everything, life is so, you know, intersectional, and like everything could be tied in. You could like, we could talk for hours about just anything connected to anything.
Everything is
everything all at once.
Yeah, everything everywhere all at once.
All at once.
That's what it is.
So.
Well, we just want to remind you that we're like, you know, don't like, if you
don't
listen
take
to
this
us,
shit personally.
Yeah,
let's just give it to him straight. Don't take this shit personally.
If you listen to us and you're like, oh, they said this and that, we're not here to kind of like judge
to be the Bible.
Just,
we're not the Bible.
We're just here to kind of question everything. We're not saying this is wrong, this is bad.
This is the Rawganism Flowcast is like being in a philosophy class.
Yeah,
where like subject matter matters comes up and you just talk about it.
But obviously, as people, right, we have our beliefs that, oh yeah, I believe eating a certain way is better for you, right? I do believe it because, you know, I experience it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's kind of better. You pull back, you realize
it's just the people, you know, sharing their opinions.
Yeah.
Like it's honestly just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So think of the Flowcast as a philosophy class. If you've never been in one, go try one, and then you'll kind of understand what I mean.
Yeah,
but for people who have taken philosophy, you'll understand that this kind of feels like being in a class and you're just throwing, because sometimes I'm just like, oh, Michelle, are you on another tangent? Like, how does this wrap into this? You know what I mean? It's like being in a class where you're just like bouncing all your brain is thinking about all this stuff, and you're trying to connect it back, because the reason it's coming up is because you're trying to get to some point that's actually related to the main point.
Everything is kind of related. Well, thank you. It was very nice to I was about to say very nice to hear from you, but
it's very nice for y'all to hear from us.
Yes.
This was a very jam-packed subject, and thank you guys for listening so much.
Yes, and we'll see you on the next episode. You know, have a great evening, good day, good evening, good night, wherever you are, you know, and we'll see you soon. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Good morning,